All right, guys. Hello and happy Thursday. I can't believe we are at the end of the month already. This is just crazy, but here we are. And November is just around the corner. So everything is good to go today. I should be sounding a-okay. I had to do some troubleshooting after last week's live, and it was just a technical thing. There were some updates and I had to fix some settings, and I was back up and running with good sound in just a few minutes. So it was what it was. I listened to the replay and I think it sounded just fine. It was maybe just a little more quiet than usual, but the sound was good. So that was the most important part. So today is our last day for the Wild and Free stamp set as a part of our stamp focus for the month. And we're going to pair this with a jelly plate and acrylic paints. So talk a little bit about that, and we've got tons to go through with that. So I'm going to pop us down to my hands real quick here, and we're going to get into the conversation. So let me, I need to change my chat. There we go. Okay, so now I can see everybody. Hello to all of you. Hello, Becca. Hello, Nancy. Hello, Sue. Anyone else that's out there, please don't hesitate to say hello and tell us where you're from. Hey, Cece, good to see you again. So glad you're out there. So I've got like my whole desk overfloweth with all sorts of fun things. So first thing I wanted to call to your attention is a new video that I have that went live today, and it is this project. It is a thick board. This is like a Tim Holtz ideology kind of product, and I really, really love it. But that's about the only thing that's Tim Holtzy on here. I mean, I guess there's just some pieces like this and this and the background sheet, but everything else is like a mishmash of different brands and things. And I really just loved the way that this tag came together. So I have another fun tag that I'm going to be putting out for the fall. And I think I'm going to start doing these like seasonally, or just kind of as my heart takes me, because they are super fun to do, and it really brings in that whole mixed media idea that I really enjoy. So all sorts of fun embellishments that are distressed and colored, and just lots of fun things to look at and enjoy. So anyway, the video is out for this, so do go ahead and take a look at that later. And let me know if you like it. Don't forget to leave a comment for it. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you like that kind of content and those kinds of projects, and I would be happy to do more of them. All right, so the projects for today are two super fun projects with the jelly plates, and they feature the jelly plate backgrounds, which I used in conjunction with the stamp set. And we're going to show you how I did these background sheets, and then how I used the stamp set and the dies and the mask stencils, most importantly, to create some really unique looks. Now, every time I do these, they look different. So sometimes it's a little more blue, sometimes it's a little more aqua, sometimes there's more gold, sometimes there's less. Every time is different. So I have pieces that I showed you last week that we're going to actually use for the projects, because they're dry and I don't have to worry about waiting for them to dry. So I have those pieces. And so we're going to use these for the projects, but I'm going to show you how to mess around with your jelly plate and what products that you can use with it to create different things. Okay, so I want to jump right into this. All of the supplies are listed down below. They are affiliate links. So if you click on them and make a purchase, I may receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it when you use those links to do your shopping. Okay, so there's some different things in that list this week. The first thing that is super different is this Southworth resume paper. Now, Southworth is actually by the Neenah company. So if you're familiar with Neenah Solar White paper, which we use a lot in card making, same company, okay? This is 100% cotton paper. I got it on Amazon. And why this paper? So first of all, I've been following some mixed media artists that do jelly plate work, and this was a recommended paper. So I did a little bit more research into it. And 100% cotton paper is archival. And they basically, Southworth has a really great page on information on cotton papers. So cotton paper is very durable. It's more durable than wood pulp papers. because the fibers are much more hardy. They stick together better. They won't tear apart when you're doing things like jelly printing. So when you're lifting that paper up and you don't want it to rip, cotton paper is a really good choice. So cotton paper for that. Also, it's basically recycled. So when textile companies are making fabrics, there's little bits of cotton that shred off of the fibers and such. And that cotton is actually what's gathered and used to make cotton paper. So this is technically recycled. It's great for the environment because that stuff isn't going into landfills. It's going into paper, which is fantastic. And then they say that cotton has a lifespan of 1 year for every % of cotton in the paper. So this is 100% cotton. So they guarantee it basically to last for 100 years, which is crazy. So I was really happy to get my hands on some of this and give it a try. So this is like regular typing paper-ish that you would put through your printer. It's 32 pounds, so it's just over like cheap printer paper, because cheap printer paper is usually like 20 pounds. So this is 32 pounds, as you can see on their thick, thin meter here. It's on the fairly thin side. But we're going to be using this for layers. It's not going to be for card bases or anything, so it is a good paper to use. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a couple pieces of those and set my paper aside here. So that little box has 100 sheets in it. And I pulled out 2 sheets because I'm going to always pull the shadow print, which is the second print from when you put down your medium, whether it's paint or ink or whatever. Okay, you take a print and then you lift it up and then you put another piece of paper down and you take another print sometimes. Okay, so this is a jelly plate. And I did another video recently on jelly plates using the Altenew mixed media inks, and it worked really great on that. This is a larger plate that I've gotten since then. So this is a 14 by 12 plate. It is ginormous. You can get this a lot of different places. They have it on Amazon. They have it at Michael's. They have it at Dick Blick. Oh, and it has, and I'm not being dramatic here, Nancy, but this is really, really stuck on here. So a jelly plate always comes with acetate sheets that go on the top or bottom. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, because you want to protect the plate. I mean, it kind of sticks to things, right? So when you put the acetate plate, the acetate sheet over it, it keeps it protected. And 2, because there is mineral oil in a jelly plate, it's if you put it down on like a wood surface or put paper on it, it's going to actually absorb the oil that's in it and leave like an oil residue. So it's to protect the surfaces that you have it on that you might be storing it on. Okay, so take that off. This one came off easier because this is on the top side that I've been working on. So there's already like some ink residue and stuff on this one that made that come off more easily. So this one is so huge. It comes in this big clamshell package. And they recommended that you save the clamshell package to put everything back into when you're done. Again, just to make sure that it stays flat and that it doesn't touch any other surfaces that it might, that the oils from the plate might actually discolor that, okay? So the other thing about jelly plates is that you don't want to use anything that is going to scratch it. And you don't want to use anything that is going to make a permanent or long-lasting impression. So like something like this block, like you wouldn't want to leave this sitting on the block because eventually, and I mean, I'm talking like overnight hours, things like that, it will leave like a little mark, an indent, things like that. It is susceptible to getting like if you, I don't know, like if you put it on something and it's not laying flat and it will get little indents and things in it that will change the way that it works. It won't be perfectly flat anymore. So you just want to be really nice to your jelly plate. Put the plastic sheets back over it. Put it someplace where it's going to sit flat and out of the way, and then you won't ever have to worry about it. Okay, so a jelly plate, you do not have to clean it every time, although you can. It does not require a special cleaning fluid. You can use baby oil. to clean it. You can also use soap and water to clean off any paint residue that you want to clean off of it, and then, you know, baby oil to kind of condition it. All right, so all sorts of things about jelly plates. Those are all the things that I've learned since I owned my jelly plates. Now I do have some smaller ones. I have like a narrow one, I have a little round one, and I think a square one, but we're just going to use the big plate today. And so instead of using stamping inks, I decided I was going to invest in getting some acrylics, and a couple were recommended. So golden acrylics. These are called thick body acrylics, and I shared these with you a couple weeks ago. And I have, like, I got a pile of 6 or 7 of them. Let me put this in the picture here. So these are kind of more of a high grade acrylic, and something that I would use if I was going to do a mixed media project for myself that I wanted it to last for a really, really, really long time. Okay. Otherwise, I also invested in some that were a little on the less expensive side. I'm going to take this off of my plate so it doesn't make permanent marks on there. The Liquitex Basics. You can get these at Dick Blick. You can also get these at Michael's. These are the basics, so they're kind of the lower end acrylics, but when I read them, they have a really good light fastness to them, which means that they are going to be okay. Like if you put something in the sun for a long time, they're not going to fade. They have excellent to moderately excellent, I guess it's called very good level 2 light fastness. So I thought these were pretty good. These are about, you know, half the price of the golden, and even though it's half the size, I mean, like if this was the same size as the golden, it would still be like half the price. So Liquitex is a really great brand, especially if you're going to be doing something like jelly plate printing for card making. So you don't have to go for the most expensive stuff to do the jelly plate printing. Okay, and the thing that I liked about these is that they're distributed in the United States. They're made in France. I was very comfortable with that. They're not something that's made in China, etc. Okay, so this pack that I got was like a 24 pack. It had all sorts of great colors in it, but I wanted to stick with a palette of colors. So these were the 3 colors that I chose. I chose gold. Oh, wait, and there's another one in here I need to pull out. Where is... I don't know where to go. There it is, the black. I almost forgot. Okay, so I picked 2 blues. I picked primary blue and light blue permanent. And then it also came with a gold, which I was totally stoked about. And then a couple of blacks. And this one is Mars black, and the other black that's in here is ivory black. But I decided I was going to use this Mars black. It's a little bit chalkier. It's not totally black. Okay, so those are the colors we're going to use today. I'm going to set these up on my shelf again, so they're out of the way. Okay, so now let's get down to some fun. Jelly plating is not as cosmic as you might think. You just need to get some inks or paints and have fun with it. These are water-based paints, so they clean up with soap and water. Super easy, okay? So I'm going to start actually with the gold. I want to do like a gold base basically, and this is just going to give me shimmer. You don't want to use a whole lot. So watch what I'm doing here. I'm just putting down some little dots of gold. All right, so really not a whole lot going on here. I'm going to take my brayer. You can use, you know, either brayer. This one smaller, meaning I'm going to have to do a lot more of this with it, but I have tighter control, or a larger brayer. This is my trusty old speedball that I've had forever. All right, and I'm just going to brayer this on. Now you do not have to work fast. I just want to get a nice coat on here. All right, and I can already see there's like some little circles left behind. That's from when I touched the bottle to the jelly plate, and it left like a little imprint, and that's cool. That's totally cool. So now I have this ink on here. I'm gonna keep a piece of paper off to the side here and just run that off. All right, so if I want, I can even come in and just clean off the rest of it with my towel. No big. Okay, so you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to move fast. It's okay if it dries a little bit on here. That is just going to give you a little bit more unique results. Like some of the paper is going to pull off, some of the paper is not going to pull off. Okay, so what I discovered, and this is where our Wild and Free stamp set plus accessories comes into play. Okay, so I took the masks and now I'm just going to put them down on here. Random. Totally random. Your hands are going to get dirty. But like I said, with acrylic paint, it's just water soluble. So no worries on cleanup. You're just going to use soap and water. It's going to clean it right up. Okay, so look, these are sticking to the jelly plate. Kind of wish I had more. I guess I could, like if I did some die cuts, I could add some more on here, but it's nice that these are the Mylar because they clean. They're very easy to use. I mean, they're not going to stick forever. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding some new layers. All right, so this is the light blue permanent, which I love this color. And it's going to kind of mix with the gold a little bit to give us kind of like a greenish gold. It's very cool. Okay, and again, I'm just going to take my brayer. I'm going to brayer over this whole thing. All right, and the smell isn't bad. The smell is just acrylic paint. It's not super noxious, so no biggie on that either. Okay, so at this point, I can keep adding to it. I can peel these guys up. I can take a print if I want to. So let's do that. I know I started working on this piece of paper here, but I'm just going to put my paper down and I'm going to lift up and see what I get. All right, so I can see my little flowers in here. There's some gold, there's some blue. But what it left behind is a really unique looking pattern so far. Okay, I can go back in with more gold now if I want. I feel like I want to have more gold in this one. So we're going to add more gold. All right, so there's all this goodness on the jelly plate. All these like rough edges around the edge now and all this really cool stuff. So cool. So now let's add in some of the primary blue. So this is going to give us more of a blue look, a darker blue look. And again, if I'm careful about how much I'm putting in here, it won't get like too overly blue. And you see how like I put these little dots of color down and they're just kind of staying as little dots to start with. That's kind of a neat look. All right, and I'm still using this same junk sheet that I just used to pull that first print off to clean off my brayer. So let's put that same print down and just pull off some of that. And now I have like more of a look on here. All right, so we'll go back to the gold and then we'll put down some more of the light blue and then we'll do some writing on this. All right, so this time I went for like a line of gold. I really want gold on this one. Okay, see, and I'm getting it on my hands, but again, it's just acrylic. It's just gonna wipe off. All right, so I almost forgot to mention, if you guys are enjoying this today, don't forget to share it, give the video a thumbs up, all those good things. All right. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to throw a little bit more of the blue on here. So I'm just playing around, you know. I think a key to having a good time with the gel plate is picking colors that are harmonious, at least to start, so you can explore and have good success with it. And then you can like really go crazy with it and try wacky color combinations and see what you end up really liking. Okay, so there's other things you can do with this. You can put patterns in here with your finger. There's tools out there that you can use that you can put patterns in with, right? Okay, so at this point, I'm going to lift up my masks. All right, and there's still some gold underneath those from the very first layer. These are going to wash off with just water. So I put them in like a little pan. I let them soak. They don't even really need to soak because they're not completely dry yet, but I just let them soak and they'll clean right up. There will be no problem with that. So let's get that over. Yeah. All right. So we can see we've got some flowers in there. And let's add, we can do another layer of gold because I really want gold on these. And then we'll do some writing. So here's the neat thing. This is dried enough on here that I didn't lose any of those flower images. Like they're all still in place there. It is so cool. Okay, so there's lots of gold down on there now. Okay, so now I'm going to take some black and put it just over here on the side. Oh, you guys can't see that. I'll flip my whole plate around so you can see what I'm going to do here. Okay. So I have some black down here. Right, and I'm just going to do like some fake writing. So it's acrylic. It can be watered down. Just like a watercolor paint or whatever. And I'm going to just do some fake writing. And for some reason, when I do fake writing, I go from right to left. And I'm just moving my brush around as if I was writing something, but I'm really not writing anything. All right, so now there's like fake writing on here. Clean off my water brush. And I'm going to clean up this spot here because I don't want to put my hand in it. Okay, so I'm going to take a panel here. So this is a fresh piece of that Southworth 100% cotton paper. And there's a lot of different things that you can use. You can use your brayer to brayer that in place. I like to use this squeegee that I have from Imagine Crafts. And that just helps to make sure that I get full contact. And I'm going to lift this up. You guys ready? Yes, exactly. Fake John Hancock's chicken scratches. All right. So there we go. And that is what a print looks like. All right, I can take this one that I've been messing around with. I can put that down too. Let's see what else I get to come up off of there. Not much. Okay, so sometimes you have to like reinvigorate this a little bit. So you're adding more color to it. But see, look at all that like rustic-y goodness on there now. And I want to get more of that. So more gold. The new wet layers help the dry layers come up. All right. I keep wanting to put more on this one because I just feel like this is super plain, but there's more we could do with this one. All right, so I'm going to try to get some of those good edges. All right, so you guys can do this totally, right? So for everyone out there that said that they had a gel plate, you can totally do this. If you have acrylic paint from your kids, or I bet you even like tempera paint might work. Definitely like your Tim Holtz Distress inks will work. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, so look at all that goodness that it picked up. And now it's on here. So I can see there was actually an imprint still left from one of the flowers that's there. Here's another one. This is really getting to be gorgeous, this one here. So lots of beautiful things here. So I'm going to do one more layer with this. I think. I don't know. This might ruin it. It might ruin it. And if it does, you know. Yeah, absolutely. So you could do stamps to lift color, to add texture. You can do stencils. Either way works. So, you know, again, if I put some more gold down. Here, actually, let me move more over to this side. So there's a lot of different ways you can reverse things. You can put the stencil down and lift it up to start removing some of that. And then when you put your paper back down over this, give it some really firm pressure, just like you would with your MISTI, right? And look, I picked up all that gunk. And here it is. And I can see there's some more little residual flowers in here, which is really, really cool. You can go, so like if this was a stencil, you could go right over this. Patterns and all that good stuff, right? So what I did with the masks earlier was kind of like a reverse stencil. So now I've got some black on here. And there. So this is, you know, depending on how much ink you put on there or paint you put on there, you're going to get a darker or a lighter image. So you can see even the line around here, the edge from the stencil. That's exactly what we've got going on there. So now I've got this gunk on here. Let's see. Let's do this. See? Super fun. And you can just mess around with this like forever. It's very addictive. I don't know if it got any of the black on here, but it might have. So you see this cotton paper, how I'm able to just keep layering it over and over and over again if I want to. I think that's because the cotton fibers are really so strong that I don't have to worry about the paper tearing. I'm able to just do that and lift it up over and over and over again. So you see how it gets more interesting as I keep adding more to it. So this is a really great print at this point. I mean, obviously I could keep adding more to it. See what I can get to pull off and all that kind of stuff to give me some really neat patterns. Is there a difference between different brands of gel plates? I don't think so, Cece. I really think they're all fundamentally the same. It's just like sizes, different sizes that you can get. So this is like the Jelly brand plate, and they tend to come in some larger sizes. The ones from Diane Reevely, those tend to come in smaller sizes because she's kind of catering towards her junk journals, which are like the travel journal size. And so hers tend to be a little smaller for that reason, I think. All right, so all of this can stay on here if I want to. I could put this plate away just like this. It's not going to hurt it, okay? Or I can clean this up with some soap and water and then just dry it off and put the covers back on it and put it away. So either way is a-okay. If it's like you're in the middle of a project, you think you're going to be using these colors again, just leave it messy because you never know what kind of goodness you're going to get off of this plate. Okay, if you're done with the project and you're going to be starting fresh with completely different colors and you just don't think that this is something that you're going to want in your next project, then go ahead and clean it. Eventually it is going to discolor. That's just the way of the jelly plate. Okay, it's just like stamps. All right, so that's like a basic in jelly plate. I hope you guys enjoyed that look into that. And now we're going to use some of the prints to do some projects. So, okay, Kathleen, you've got some great ideas here and at least an idea of how you can use it, and you don't have to be afraid of it. Okay, so, right, so let the crafting continue. I'm as cool as a cucumber. I'm like paddling like a duck, like, you know, crazy underwater here. Okay, so let me move a few things out of the way. Here's a cool thing. These prints here are like almost dry. So you don't have to wait long if you're not using a whole lot of paint for them to be dry and usable. Okay, but I'm still going to set those aside, and these are the ones we're going to use for today. So I do have two cards. This one actually comes together pretty quick, and I don't even know. We'll do the other one first because this one is pretty self-explanatory, right? I just chopped down one of my pieces and I did like a little offset, and then I added in one of the flowers and the sentiment strip from, oh, what is this called? It's called Label Love. All right. So this one is actually pretty easy, and that's a great way to incorporate a jelly print into a project. So you can see like there's a little flower back here. There's another one up here. The detail is truly in there as far as like being able to see some of those little pieces that we used from the masking. Okay. So it's in there, and it just kind of helps relate that whole thing together. All right. So that is pretty simple. And if I have time, we'll get to that one. The one that I really wanted to do though is the Eclipse card. Okay, so some of you might be familiar with this style. And this is basically, the sentiment is in here, but it's put right back into the same hole with the same paper. It's just popped up with some adhesive foam cut out in the same shape. So this is the one we're going to do. And what I did with one of my prints, so this one ended up having a lot more of the blue in it. And I had like really, really white flowers from the masks. So I came back in with my stamps and I just stamped them onto the paper. And then I wanted to add a little bit more to this one. So I took some of my mixed media inks and my gold inks and things like that. And I just swiped them on here to give them like all these little pink and gold bits extra on here. Becca, the cotton paper should be on the list. It is a, should be an Amazon link. I will double check it, but it's an Amazon link. Okay, so all I'm going to do for this is cut out a whole bunch of these. And I didn't care where the flowers were. Like, I didn't want to try cutting this piece out. I wanted it to be like a little backgroundy piece. So I went ahead and just jammed as many of these on here as I could. And I just went for the flowers. I didn't do any of the, heck, I'll even put the dragonfly on here. All right, so just running this whole thing, all the flower bits, especially these little ones. These were really helpful. You could do leaves if you wanted to add those in. All right, but I'm going to run these through my Gemini. Okay. So while that's going through, here's some leftover pieces that I have from my other project from this one. I've got a piece of navy blue cardstock. All right, so total jumble of dies. Okay. And it's kind of nice that this paper is so thin. So let's see. Yeah, Nancy, I stepped out of the picture, so maybe that's what you saw. All right, so these guys are super thin. And it works out kind of nice for this project. There we go. So see, now I have like these pieces. I might use these for another project because they're kind of cool. Set those aside. Or maybe I'll use them as like another template. Oh, you know what? I bet you the first link in the description might be from last week's because I just copy and paste over. So I'll have to update that. Thanks for letting me know. The one in the chat is the right one. So I will update that. Okay, so now I'm just going to pop these guys down, and it doesn't matter where I'm putting them because I'm going to die cut out that word afterwards. So look, isn't that so cute? It's got like a little bit of a flower in it, and it's got some gold. So cute. Okay. So I want to have some like hanging off the edge. I want to have, let's see, I like this one. I like the ones that have the little black bits of the flower in there. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And I'm just going to glue these down. So this is like another way of making your own pattern paper just by adding bits to a base piece. At first, I wasn't sold on this when I was putting this project together. I thought, I don't know if this is going to work, if I'm going to like the way it works, if it looks okay. You know, all those questions that you have when you start a project. So let's see. Yeah, so when I did my die cuts, I cut that piece of paper in half. So it was just like a 5.5 by 8.5. So that would go through like my regular die cut machine. Not the extra big machine. So if you wanted to, you could cut out even more flowers, put them on a 8.5 by 11 sheet. And of course you would still want to have some pieces hanging off the edge, but just make a bigger piece to start with. And go from there. All right, so I've got all my pieces on here. And then I'm just going to snip off my edges. Because let's face it, at first you're kind of like, that looks interesting, question mark. But when you start cutting the pieces off, it really brings the whole thing to life. Because again, at that point, you're like, oh, it looks like a piece of pattern paper that I just chopped down to 4.25 by 5.5. Like so. So then all of a sudden, instead of having a piece of paper with a whole bunch of flowers hanging off the edge, you now have a piece of patterned paper that is cut to size. Super cool, yes. All right. Okay, so this would then go on a card base. Actually, no, we need to do our die cutting first. So let's do our die cut. I think I have it over here. Yes. Okay, so the die I'm using is like my favorite new Hello die. This is the Waterbrush Hello. And another good reason, another good thing that this paper that we use for the prints is thin is that I'm going to be doing this die cutting. So this is going to cut all the way through without issue, which is super nice. So I'm going to do 2 cuts. I'm going to cut this, and then I'm going to also cut this piece of foam. Now this is a piece of 4.25 by 5.5 foam from scrapbook.com. It has the adhesive already on it. All right, this will go through my die cut machine, believe it or not, with just the regular cutting pads. I don't have to make like a special sandwich or anything. So I'm going to pop these through. All right, so Becca had French onion soup for dinner. Yum. All right, so while I'm waiting for those to go through, any requests for next month, starting next week? Any special techniques you want to see? Any stamp sets you've gotten recently that you don't know how to use? Okay, so this was the foam, and you see that just went right through with my sandwich. And it cut out a foam piece like perfecto. Okay, so I got that one. And now I need to cut out my base. Oh, good. I'm glad you found your ink cubes. Okay, so I cut this out, and it did cut out all of the little pieces that go along with it. Now this one I think came from like the side here. This is when you're going to find out how good your glue job was. Because if you might have a few little pieces that pop up, you're going to want to put them back in place to complete the look. There we go. Oh, I see it. Okay. So now I will pop out my sentiment. Come on, work with me here. It's just deciding to be a little stubborn today. There we go. Yeah, Beck, I think we're all on our way over. I mean, French onion soup. Damn, girl. Yum. Okay. So that was being a pain in the butt because it chose to not cut as nicely as it could have. Not worried about it though. Okay. So even though I've got some not so nice edges there, they're actually going to get covered up. So I'm not concerned about that. Okay, let's, and I don't want to like discard any of those little pieces yet because I might need them to fill in some spaces. Okay. So on goes our basic bottom design here. All right. So pop that in. Originally, I thought this was a good look, just, you know, without the hello piece in there again as the eclipse part. But then I said, oh, we should do an eclipse card. So here we are. Yes, Becca, sometimes the lightest color is splotchy. When it dries, it should dry the same. If you mean like you've got white space in there that didn't actually stamp, I would stamp that layer a couple more times and get it really filled in. And then you probably need re-inkers. All right, so I'm taking my foam piece here and popping it right back into the die cut space. All right, so that pops right back in place. Then I can take off my next layer of backing, and this one is going to pop right on top. Now, a lot of times people will put the little chads back in the centers, or you can leave them out. Either way, I'm going to leave these guys in because they didn't really cut well, so these guys are going to stay right in place. But then this is going to go right back over the top and not stick to my fingers. This adhesive is super, super sticky on this double-sided adhesive sheets. Which, you know, that's a good thing, right? Okay, and then if I've got any little hangers that need to be adhered down, of course we can just add a little more adhesive. There we go. And then you have a beautiful eclipse card. Oh, yes, Becca, you can use Versamark to condition your stamp before you stamp with it. Also, if it is like the solid image, just rub your hand over it until it turns milky in color. And that will help the ink to keep from beading up on there. And I think you'll probably have better results with that. There. Okay, so that little piece needed to go right up in the corner there. So there we go. An Eclipse card. I haven't done one of those in like forever. So there. See, this one we got the dragonfly in there for Sue. And this one does not have the dragonfly. But so some great ways that you can use your jelly prints. All right, so those two. And then, like I said, for the other card, I just cut down one of the print sheets. So this is like 3.5 by 4 3/4. It's pretty small. Now you could do it square on. Let's do this one square on. The other one I put cattywampus. Some people don't like that. I used to teach in-person classes, and there was a woman that did not like ripped anything. So like even her washi tape, she didn't like to rip it. So she always cut her washi tape. You know, she didn't like to put things at an angle, so she always had to put it square. And to each their own, right? I was totally cool with that. So I need... Now, you don't have to put the flower on it either if you don't want, but of course this month we're doing the flower stamp set, so we want to. I need... So I'm going to stamp one of these guys. Now, I find with this particular stamp set that it's best to use a MISTI with it, because you're going to get a little bit of cushion underneath, and that's helpful when you're trying to get these to turn out. All right, so pop this one kind of down in the corner. And I'll use my obsidian black. All right, and then if I want that to be an even better image, I'll do it twice. There we go. And then let's grab, gotta add the flower. So I like this little dude here. And then I did just this little skinny one. So those. All right, so that and that. And I have a pile of dies here somewhere. Can I find the right ones? That one. So pop these through. This one, for some reason, I'm always going like around and around and around to find where it fits. Come on, work with me. There we go. This is like a bumpy circle, right? Let's see. So Halloween is on Saturday, and Becca wants to know if we're planning on treats. You know, and also Becca, to your idea there, yes, I would do that, but I don't always stamp the stamp in the same direction, so that's always a problem. So yeah. Otherwise I would. I'd be like, oh yeah, I always have a dot at 12, so that way I know what's top. Well, I don't always stamp the same direction either. So if I didn't want to go for a pop of color on this one, I could just go for black and white, which would be kind of nice. Together. Oops. But as for Saturday with trick-or-treaters, we don't really get trick-or-treaters anyway. They always go to a different street in our neighborhood, so they don't like our street because we have lots of trees and it's dark and it's creepy. And the houses are farther apart, so they don't get as many treats. So in the past, we've done things where we've gone to other people's houses and sat out in their front yards to give out candy, but obviously we won't be doing that this year. All right. Actually, I want this to go down just a little bit. So there we go. So you can pop it up or you can just put it on the card flat. Either way works. Okay. Oh, Becca, did you get what I meant? What I meant about your stamp? So, like for these being a solid stamp like they are, I would just rub them with my hands a little bit until they turn milky in color. And then I find that that helps, especially the lighter colors, when you're doing layering stamps, to stick onto the stamp without beating up quite as much. And of course, Versamark does help too, but I'm always doing that with my finger, and so I don't have to pull out my Versamark every time I want to condition a stamp. So hopefully that helps. All right. Yeah, well, Halloween's kind of a bit easier every year because we know we don't get the kids anymore, so we don't bring candy into the house because otherwise my husband and I are eating it all. And then we just don't really plan on trick-or-treaters. So, and that's okay. All right, so this one I did black and white. I think I like it better with the pop of color though. So those, and then these are Eclipse Card. So cool. And of course, everything was based on the jelly printing that we did today. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that. A little look into how to use a jelly print or a jelly press, and give you a little bit more confidence in using that tool. Since some of you have one already, maybe you'll pull one out this weekend and give it a try. Like I said, if you don't have acrylic paints for that, you can use your Distress oxides. They will work on the jelly plate. You can use other mixed media inks, other pigment inks. If they're water-based pigment inks, you can use them. So like Versacolor, you could use VersaCraft, you could use chalk inks, anything that's water-based like that, you can totally use. So even though I use today some acrylic paints, you can use all sorts of different mediums on your jelly plates. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Kathleen, I think, let's see, you're going to be handing out treats. That's really awesome. And then they're going to grab whatever they can from a table, which I think is really great. We thought about doing like a little pulley system to have a little fun with it, but like I said, we don't get the trick-or-treaters, so meh, whatever. Anyway, guys, I will be back next week with something fun, new, and exciting, perhaps a mystery, because I don't know if you guys had any ideas out there. I'll take a look and see what ideas you might have had, and we'll have some fun next week into November. And I think I'm going to take Thanksgiving week off just to rest and regroup and enjoy the quiet time. So I will see you guys next week, though, and have a great weekend, and enjoy yourselves. Don't eat too much candy, and spend some time doing some crafting for sure. So thanks for stopping by today, guys, and I'll chat with you later. Happy crafting!